Hi, I'm Jim Franks, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. Today I'll be reading from Matthew chapter 6, where Christ both condemned the religious leaders of his day and gave instructions on one of the most common and effective tools that a Christian can use in his or her life. The subject of this section of Scripture is fasting. When we use the term fasting, we generally refer to going without food and water for a full 24 hours. We know that there is one festival in which fasting is a major part, the Day of Atonement. On the Day of Atonement, our fast begins as the sun sets at the end of the 9th day of the month Tishri, and marking the beginning of the 10th day of Tishri. The fast continues until the sun sets at the end of that day, so fasting is from sunset to sunset on the Day of Atonement. But outside of the commanded fast on the Day of Atonement, the Bible does not tell us how often we should fast. Is it once a month or once every 3 months? The Bible doesn't say. We have examples of individuals who fasted as they were facing trials or had the need to make an important decision. When Christ addressed the issue of fasting, he condemned the approach of the religious leaders of his day and gave clear instructions on how we are to fast. He first tells us how not to fast, and then he instructs us on how to fast. Let's read this for ourselves in Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 through 18. Moreover, when you fast, do not be like the hypocrites with a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces that they may appear to men to be fasting. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head, wash your face, so that you do not appear to men to be fasting, but to your Father who is in the secret place, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Christ tells us how not to fast. And what did he say? He tells us that to make a public display isn't the purpose for fasting. This is something that should be done privately, where people do not know that you're even fasting. Of course, on the Day of Atonement, we expect that most everyone will be fasting. But even on that day, we don't appear distressed or showing ourselves to be heavily burdened. We appear normal. We wash our faces, and from all outward appearances, we are going about a normal day. The key here is one of purpose and appearance. Fasting is private between an individual and God. Fasting is personal and not something that is needed to impress other individuals. Fasting for the wrong purpose with the wrong approach certainly doesn't impress God. He sees our hearts. So it is important that we analyze our approach toward fasting and make sure we aren't doing it to impress other people or to prove we are more righteous than others. This approach was condemned by Christ. So what should we do when we fast? We should go about our normal day as much as possible. We may prefer to choose a day when we're not required to work, depending on the type work that we have. It may be necessary to inform our mates because of meal preparation and other duties in the home, but we don't make a public announcement or tell all our friends we are fasting today. We fast in secret, not telling everyone, expecting that God will acknowledge what we are doing.
Verse by Verse is a companion podcast to the Daily Bible Verse blog, which you can find on the Life, Hope, and Truth Learning Center. Check out the show notes for more.